Well, I think parents are alarmed at what they see. They see their kids withdraw. They see them become much more introspective, less socialized with people, spending less time with people, and they see them on their device all the time. And you see that all the time. Kids walking down the street are looking at their phone. It's
Yeah.
amazing, right? It's not that exciting, but they're not open to the world around them. They're drawn to the device in front of them, and that really is uh, that's a big problem. It really it removes people from the opportunity to let the spontaneous things of life occur before them. Uh, we had a really interesting experience at the hospital during it was kind of after the big part of the pandemic, but we're still getting these COVID outbursts. So we had a policy that if someone became COVID positive, they had to be in their room in isolation for 5 days.
Yeah.
So you can imagine for an adolescent, that's inordinately difficult. So, in order to make it reasonable, we said it's terrible you have to be in your room in isolation, but you can have your device all the time. Because usually in the hospital we have rules. You get it, for an hour after dinner or something like that. But if you're in your room on isolation, you have your device anytime you want. So I remember distinctly being in group, and we had like three kids who had been in their room in isolation, and they got out after 5 days. So they were rejoining the group for the first time. And I thought to ask them, I said, well, how is it? And they said, it's all right. It's all right being back. So I said, well, all right, if you had a choice, would you rather be in isolation with your phone all the time or out here with us? And all of them said, I'd rather be alone in my room with my device.
Ooh.
And I was
Oh
like,
no.
you've got to be kidding, right? But that was, and they were genuine. They really meant that. It was far more interesting to them and far more gratifying to be alone in a room with a device than out interacting with their peers.
Wow.
Right? Yeah. So
Yeah.
everyone knows there's smoke in the house, but no one's calling the fire department yet.
Yeah.
And we tend to be reactionary. So I talk to a lot of parents who say, "Yeah, I take the phone away," that sort of thing. Well, okay, but that's also the only way kids communicate today. So you've essentially taken that out of their life. That doesn't work. So I'm much more in favor of actually families coming up with their own rules about it. And if you think about it, we all live lives of rules.
Mhm.
And we have society rules, but we also have personal rules. You know, I don't drink coffee after noon because it keeps me up at night. That's a rule I have. But we
Yeah.
all have those kinds of rules. And we have to learn to make those kinds of rules for these devices. And I think that actually has to begin in families. So
Mhm.
we wrote an article about, things like really important for parents to join with their kids on what they're learning through social media, and to really be able to talk about it, but also to create times when, as a family, we won't have our device available to us. So if your family happens to sit down to dinner every night, make an agreement that we're not going to be on our device during dinner. And that actually has to be followed by the parents too. So when I talk to parents, I say the first thing is, you got to check yourself because you can't tell your kid not to be on their device when you're having it right next to you at the dinner table or in a restaurant and you're checking it every 4 seconds,
Yeah.
that sort of thing. So I kind of think like families have to develop rules or times. And, a big one for adolescents is don't bring it to bed with you. I mean, basic sleep is interrupted. Nothing is that important in life that you have to have your device 24 hours a day. You could actually leave it on a kitchen counter and get it in the morning. That would be okay. But that would have to be a family rule. And I guess I would say it would hope for kids that they would develop practices like I'm going to do my homework for an hour and then I'm going to scroll for a half an hour, and kind of build a
Yeah.
reward system in for it, use it that way. Because I really think it is a little bit of a reward system. You just got to be able to set up a structure so you're working for the reward.